Before the dark and brooding versions of the Caped Crusader, there was the Batman TV series, 1966, a colorful, campy, and wildly entertaining take on Gotham's hero. With Adam West's unforgettable portrayal, over-the-top villains, and iconic POW and BAM fight scenes, this series became a cult classic. But how much do you really know about it? From behind-the-scenes drama to surprising guest stars and hilarious production mishaps, here are 20 things you never knew about Batman, 1966. When Ed Graham secured the rights to Batman in 1962, his vision was vastly different from what audiences eventually saw. Instead of the colorful, campy primetime series that became a cultural phenomenon, he originally planned a straightforward Saturday morning show aimed at children, much like the Superman series of the 1950s. Graham even cast former football star Mike Henry as the Caped Crusader, hoping to create a heroic, action-packed program. However, delays and network hesitation stalled the project, and Graham's version never materialized. ABC later stepped in with a fresh perspective, leaning into a comedic, exaggerated style that set Batman apart from other superhero adaptations. The result? A wildly successful show that captivated audiences far beyond just children, proving that sometimes, a change in direction is exactly what a series needs to make history. One of the most unforgettable quirks of Batman, 1966, was Robin's endless stream of "holy" exclamations, "holy hole in a donut," "holy backfire," and hundreds more. But these weren't just random outbursts. Writer Lorenzo Semple Jr., the creative force behind much of the show's campy charm, drew inspiration from the Tom Swift adventure books he had loved as a child. These books often featured exaggerated exclamations, a literary device Semple adapted for the boy wonder. The result? Robin shouted "holy" a staggering 357 times throughout the series, turning a simple gimmick into one of the show's most iconic and beloved elements. When ABC first developed Batman, 1966, it was intended to be an hour-long weekly series. However, the network had a different idea: why not break it into 2 parts and air it twice a week? This decision wasn't just about filling more airtime, it was a clever tactic to keep audiences engaged. Each storyline was split into 2 30-minute episodes, with the first part airing on Wednesday and the conclusion following on Thursday. But what really hooked viewers was the dramatic cliffhanger at the end of each first episode. Batman and Robin would find themselves in an impossible death trap, dangling over a vat of acid, strapped to a giant magnifying glass, or tied to a conveyor belt heading toward a buzzsaw. Just when it seemed all hope was lost, the episode would cut off, forcing audiences to tune in the next night to see how the dynamic duo escaped. This serialized format turned Batman into must-watch television. Viewers couldn't resist coming back for more, making the show one of the most successful and addictive TV experiences of its time. Sometimes, the path to stardom takes unexpected turns, just ask Adam West. Before donning the cape and cowl, West wasn't a household name. But one lucky TV commercial changed everything. Producer William Dozier was on the hunt for the perfect Batman when he stumbled upon a Nestle Quick advertisement. In the ad, West played a suave, James Bond-style spy with a deadpan delivery and effortless charm. His comedic timing was impeccable, and Dozier immediately saw potential. If West could balance seriousness with humor so effortlessly, he was exactly what Batman needed. Dozier arranged a screen test, pitting West against Lyle Waggoner. While both actors had the look, West's ability to embrace the show's campy tone won him the role. That one commercial turned him from an unknown actor into a pop culture legend, proving that sometimes, the smallest roles can lead to the biggest opportunities. Playing Robin on Batman, 1966, was far more dangerous than it looked. Burt Ward, who won the role thanks to his judo skills and athleticism, quickly realized that being the boy wonder came with real-life risks. On his very first day, Ward had a near-death experience when the Batmobile's passenger door unexpectedly flew open during a high-speed turn. Without a seatbelt, he barely managed to hang on. That was just the beginning. Throughout the series, he endured burns from explosive pyrotechnics, was nearly struck by flying debris, and even got injured by the Batmobile itself when sparks flew from the back of the car. Stunt doubles were rarely used for Ward, as producers believed his natural agility made him the perfect fit for action scenes. Unfortunately, this meant he had to endure real bruises, burns, and close calls on a regular basis. While Batman always had a plan to escape danger, in reality, his sidekick was often the one taking the biggest risks. Before Batman, 1966, became a cultural sensation, it almost didn't make it past the starting line. When ABC conducted a test screening of the show's pilot, the results were disastrous, scoring in the low 40s, far below the average for a successful series. Executives were concerned. The campy humor and over-the-top action seemed too risky, and there were doubts about whether audiences would embrace such an unconventional take on the Dark Knight. But instead of scrapping the show, ABC doubled down on promotion. Weeks of aggressive marketing built excitement, and when Batman finally premiered, it was an instant hit. Viewers loved its vibrant style, catchy theme song, and comedic take on the Caped Crusader. What was once considered a failure became one of the most beloved TV shows of the 1960s, proving that sometimes, audiences know better than test screenings. It's hard to imagine anyone other than Cesar Romero as the Joker in Batman, 1966, but the role almost went to one of the biggest music icons of all time, Frank Sinatra. Known for his suave persona and legendary voice, Sinatra was a huge fan of Batman comics and reportedly expressed serious interest in playing the Joker when the TV series was being developed. However, by the time his enthusiasm was known, the role had already been given to Cesar Romero. Romero, a seasoned Hollywood actor, embraced the campy nature of the show, delivering a theatrical and flamboyant performance that defined the Joker for an entire generation. His refusal to shave his signature mustache, forcing makeup artists to simply paint over it, became one of the show's most amusing details. Sinatra wasn't the only major star who wanted in on Batman. Hollywood legends like Gregory Peck and Elizabeth Taylor also sought cameo appearances, particularly in the famous scene where Batman and Robin climb a building, only to be greeted by a surprise celebrity. Unfortunately, the show's packed schedule left no room for their appearances. Had Sinatra played the Joker, Batman might have taken an entirely different turn. But even without him, the show attracted an impressive lineup of guest stars, making it one of the most star-studded TV series of its time. Before it became one of the most famous vehicles in television history, the Batmobile was something entirely different, a failed prototype. Originally designed in 1955, the Lincoln Futura was a futuristic concept car built by Ford at an astounding cost of $250,000. It featured a sleek, bubble-top design, massive fins, and a look straight out of science fiction. However, despite its eye-catching appearance, the car was never mass-produced and was eventually abandoned. That's when custom car designer George Barris stepped in. Ford sold him the Futura for a symbolic $1, giving him full creative freedom. When Batman, 1966, needed a signature crime-fighting car, Barris saw the perfect opportunity. With only a few weeks to modify the vehicle, he added the now iconic bat fins, a jet-inspired front grille, and all the gadgets needed for Gotham's hero. The result was nothing short of legendary. The Batmobile became just as iconic as Batman himself, proving that sometimes, even a forgotten concept can be transformed into something unforgettable. Before Adam West became the definitive Batman of the 1960s, his original costume looked strikingly different from the version fans remember. During his screen test, the suit lacked one of its most recognizable features, the bright yellow oval behind the bat emblem. Instead, it had a simple black bat symbol, much like Batman's early comic book appearances. The cowl also underwent significant changes. Initially, the mask had much longer ears, giving Batman a more dramatic silhouette. However, this design quickly proved impractical for filming. The extended ears often got cut off in close-up shots, and they made movement more cumbersome. To solve this, costume designers shortened them to a more manageable length, creating the sleeker, more balanced look that became iconic. These small but crucial tweaks helped shape Adam West's Batman into the unforgettable version that charmed audiences worldwide. Without them, the Caped Crusader's classic 1966 look might have been very different. During a special crossover episode between Batman and the Green Hornet, Burt Ward found himself face-to-face with a martial arts legend, Bruce Lee. Lee played Kato, the Green Hornet's sidekick, and was scheduled to have a staged fight with Robin. But for a brief moment, Ward feared the fight might become all too real. As Lee arrived on set, he carried himself with an intense, focused energy. Ward, unsure if Lee was staying in character or genuinely ready to throw punches, instinctively raised his guard. The tension was palpable. Then, just as Ward prepared for the worst, Lee broke into a grin and playfully called him a chicken. The entire cast and crew burst into laughter, and Ward realized he had been tricked by Lee's legendary presence. Though the fight scene was carefully choreographed, Lee's incredible skill still made it one of the most memorable moments of the crossover. Ward may have dodged a real fight that day, but he walked away with a great story, and a deep respect for Bruce Lee's mastery of martial arts. When Batman, 1966, premiered, it was an instant cultural phenomenon. Audiences loved its colorful action, over-the-top villains, and catchy theme song. However, by season 2, the show's grip on viewers began to slip. The biggest issue? Repetition. While the campy style was fun at first, the formula quickly became predictable. Each episode followed the same structure: Batman and Robin faced a new villain, got caught in an elaborate death trap, and miraculously escaped just in time. Meanwhile, rival shows like Lost in Space began stealing viewers, making it even harder for Batman to maintain its dominance. In a desperate attempt to revive interest, producers introduced Batgirl in Season 3, hoping a new hero would bring fresh energy. But by then, the decline was irreversible. Ratings continued to drop, and with the show's high production costs, ABC ultimately decided to cancel it after 120 episodes. Adam West may have played a fictional superhero, but one day in Maui, he found himself in a situation straight out of a Batman episode. While on vacation, West reportedly witnessed a man wielding a machete, threatening a couple on the beach. Without hesitation, he sprang into action. With nothing but a lounge chair as his weapon, West confronted the attacker and used his quick reflexes to pin the man against a wall. He held him there until police arrived, preventing what could have been a tragic incident. Witnesses were stunned. Batman himself had just saved the day in real life. Though West rarely spoke about the event, those who were there never forgot it. For fans, it was proof that the man behind the mask wasn't just acting, he truly embodied the heroic spirit of the Caped Crusader. In 1979, NBC attempted to bring back Adam West and Burt Ward for a live-action special called Legends of the Superheroes. On paper, it seemed like a great idea, reviving the beloved Batman characters alongside other DC heroes like Flash, Green Lantern, and Hawkman. In reality, it was a complete disaster. The show suffered from an embarrassingly low budget, cheap costumes, and awkward dialogue that made it feel more like a bad variety show than a superhero adventure. But the worst part? The second half of the special was formatted as a comedy roast, where Batman and his fellow heroes were mocked by villains in a cringe-worthy attempt at humor. Instead of an action-packed reunion, audiences got a painfully unfunny spectacle that felt more like an insult to the franchise. Even Adam West later admitted that Legends of the Superheroes was a mistake, calling it a disgrace to Batman's legacy. Though the 1960s series remains a cult classic, this failed reunion proved that not every comeback is a good idea. Believe it or not, Batman, 1966, owes part of its signature campy style to Hugh Hefner's Playboy Club. Before ABC settled on the show's lighthearted tone, Batman was still being envisioned as a more straightforward superhero series. But a surprising event changed everything. In 1965, the Chicago Playboy Club began screening the old 1943 Batman serials. These black and white shorts were originally meant to be serious crime-fighting adventures, but decades later, audiences found them unintentionally hilarious. The stiff acting, exaggerated dialogue, and low-budget effects turned the once thrilling series into a comedy goldmine. The screenings became a hit, and word spread fast. When ABC executives saw how much fun audiences had laughing at Batman, they realized the potential of embracing the humor. Instead of trying to make a gritty superhero show, they leaned into the absurdity, creating the over-the-top, colorful, and campy version that became a cultural phenomenon. Cesar Romero's portrayal of the Joker in Batman, 1966, is unforgettable, but there's one quirky detail that's become a part of his legacy: his mustache. Romero was so attached to his facial hair that he flatly refused to shave it for the role of Gotham's most notorious villain. Instead of going clean-shaven, the makeup team had to get creative. They simply painted white makeup over his mustache, creating one of the most amusing and iconic aspects of the Joker's look. While it may have been an unintentional detail, it added to the campy, over-the-top style that Batman became known for. This refusal to shave became a part of Romero's Joker persona, further proving that even in a role defined by chaos, a little bit of eccentricity can make the character even more memorable. Fans still talk about that painted mustache to this day, and it's one of those quirky little things that made the show so endearing. Before Batman, 1966, became a hit TV show, producers had a different plan. They wanted to introduce the Caped Crusader with a full-length feature film. The idea was to use the movie as a way to promote the series, giving audiences a taste of what was to come. However, ABC decided to flip the strategy. Instead of launching with a film, they rushed the TV show into production, hoping to capitalize on the growing excitement around superheroes. The decision paid off. Batman became an instant success when it premiered. Once the show proved its popularity, the long-delayed film finally went into production between seasons 1 and 2. Released in 1966, Batman, the movie gave Adam West even more time to shine as Bruce Wayne, letting him step out of the cape and cowl more than he usually did on TV. The film also introduced iconic gadgets like the Batboat and the infamous shark-repellent bat spray, cementing Batman's place as a pop culture phenomenon. For decades, Batman, 1966, remained one of the most beloved TV shows of its time, constantly airing in reruns. But despite its lasting popularity, fans had no way to own the complete series. Unlike many classic shows that were quickly released on VHS or DVD, Batman was caught in a complicated legal battle that kept it locked away for nearly 50 years. The problem stemmed from multiple companies holding different rights to the series. 20th Century Fox produced the show, DC Comics owned the characters, and Warner Brothers had the modern distribution rights. With so many stakeholders, negotiations became a legal nightmare, preventing an official home video release. Meanwhile, fans had to rely on syndicated broadcasts, often watching episodes that were cut for time. The wait finally ended in 2014 when all parties reached an agreement. Batman, the complete series, was released in a beautifully remastered edition, featuring restored visuals and bonus content. After nearly half a century, fans could finally own every episode, ensuring that Adam West's legendary portrayal of the Caped Crusader would continue entertaining audiences for generations. In the 1960s, Adam West wasn't just Batman, he was also a singer. One of his most unusual projects was Miranda, a hilariously over-the-top love song that perfectly captured the campy spirit of Batman, 1966. The song tells the story of Batman attempting to woo a woman named Miranda. But every time he gets close, Robin barges in, interrupting his romantic advances with urgent crime-fighting business. The result is a comedic, exaggerated ballad filled with dramatic flair and West's signature deadpan delivery. While Miranda never became a chart-topping hit, it remains a quirky and beloved artifact of the Batman era. Fans of the show appreciate it as yet another example of how Adam West fully embraced the absurdity and charm of his character. Even today, it's a fun reminder that Batman, at least in the 1960s, wasn't just about catching criminals, he also had a surprisingly musical side. Even after Batman, 1966, ended, Adam West and Burt Ward continued to don their iconic costumes, not to fight crime, but to spread important messages. The duo frequently reprised their roles for public service announcements, using their superhero status to promote causes ranging from road safety to equal pay. One memorable campaign had Batman and Robin encouraging children to buckle up while driving, reinforcing the importance of seatbelt use in a way that felt both educational and entertaining. Another PSA saw the dynamic duo advocating for U.S. savings bonds, urging citizens to invest in the country's future. They even participated in equal pay awareness efforts, promoting fairness in the workplace long before it became a widely discussed issue. These public service spots became a unique extension of the Batman legacy, showing that West and Ward were more than just actors, they were genuinely committed to using their fame for good. Even outside of Gotham, Batman and Robin were still looking out for the public, proving that heroes don't always need a bat signal to make a difference. In 2003, Adam West and Burt Ward reunited for one final adventure as the dynamic duo, but this time, they weren't just playing Batman and Robin. Return to the Batcave, the misadventures of Adam and Burt blended fiction with reality, following the two actors as they investigated the mysterious theft of the original Batmobile. As they unraveled the case, West and Ward found themselves reminiscing about their time on Batman, 1966, offering fans a behind-the-scenes look at the campy classic. The special featured reenactments of key moments from their early careers, with younger actors portraying them in flashbacks. Even some of the show's original villains, including Frank Gorshin as the Riddler and Julie Newmar as Catwoman, made appearances, adding to the nostalgia. Though it was a light-hearted and playful tribute, Return to the Batcave was more than just a fun mystery, it was a love letter to a show that had entertained generations. For fans of the original Batman series, it was a chance to see their childhood heroes back in action one last time. Even decades later, the Batman TV series remains one of the most beloved and unique takes on the Dark Knight. Its humor, charm, and unforgettable moments turned it into a pop culture legend. Which fact surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing facts about classic TV shows.